Harlequin Special Release and HarlequinAudio present Long Tall Texans, Luke, by Diana Palmer. Performed by Todd Mclaren. Dear listener, I can't believe that it has been 30 years since my first Long Tall Texans book, Calhoun, debuted. This series was suggested by my former editor, Tara Gavin, who asked if I might like to set stories in a fictional town of my own design. Would I? And the rest is history. As the years went by, I found more and more sexy ranchers and cowboys to add to the collection. My readers, especially Amy, found time to gift me with a notebook listing every single one of them. Wives and kids and connections to other families in my own Texas town of Jacobsville. Eventually, the town got a little too big for me, so I added another smaller town called Comanche Wells and began to fill it up too. You can't imagine how much pleasure this series has given me. I continue to add to the population of Jacobs County, Texas, and I have no plans to stop. Ever. I hope all of you enjoy reading The Long Tall Texans as much as I enjoy writing them. Thank you all for your kindness and loyalty and friendship. I am your biggest fan. Love, Diana Palmer. Chapter 1. Luke Craig was a rancher, and he'd battled all sorts of problems over the years. He'd had to deal with falling beef prices, closed markets, crazy winters, and bad fall harvests that required him to buy feed for his livestock over the winter. But the problem that had just cropped up was one he'd never seriously considered. A summer camp for underprivileged city kids had just opened right next door to his ranch, and he was having to come to terms with invaders who made the Mexican Army in 1836 look tame by comparison. To top it all off, the owner of the camp was a feisty young woman who seemed to have cornered the market on bad temper and stubbornness. Her name was Belinda Jessup. He knew her brother, Ward, slightly, having met him at Cattlemen's Association meetings in the past. Ward was more interested in oil wells than cattle, as a rule, but he still kept his membership in various groups that dealt with livestock. Belinda didn't resemble her brother all that much, but they shared the same hot temper. She wasn't bad-looking, with her dark blonde hair and green eyes and outgoing personality. Strange how she rubbed Luke the wrong way. His sister Alicia liked Belinda. Of course, Alicia had just married Tom Walker, the father of her young daughter Chrissy, and right now, in the glow of nuptial bliss, she liked everyone. Luke, living alone for the first time in years, was heartily sick of his own cooking and his own company. Belinda's project made him even more irritable than he normally was. It had come as a shock to discover that old man Peterson had sold the river property that adjoined Luke's to an outsider. It had been sudden, too. The land hadn't been advertised, not even with a sign on the roadside. One day old man Peterson owned it, the next it was being developed as a youth camp, complete with roofed pavilion, small cabins, and a pier on the river. Luke's pasture adjoined the property. It was delineated by a sturdy electrified fence and a steel farm gate with a padlock. The very first morning Ms. Jessup's city kids came to stay, the padlock was skillfully removed and the gate opened. Neighbors had called the sheriff's office to complain that Luke's Hereford steers were roaming the neighborhood and the highway. Luke and his men had rounded up the cattle, put them back into the fenced pasture, and the padlock had been replaced by a chain half the size of one that held a ship's anchor, affixed with 8 combination locks. The next morning, the sheriff's deputy was back with the same complaint about loose cattle. Luke checked, and all 8 combination locks were lying on the grass, rusting. It was inevitable that the rancher would go straight to the source of the problem. Belinda was working out the next day's recreation.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?